Hello, to my YouTube channel. My name is VassaOlga. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Smokey. How to create Smokey makeup look. First and foremost, I want to mention real quick that you have lots of different options. Smokey doesn't mean that it has to be only browns or only black colors. If you don't like the combination of these colors, I can suggest some other options like neutral shades. It can be browns. You can go from the darkest shade from the palette, this or that one, and then you have the whole row and you're going. I'm going to be showing you the principle, the technique that I use personally. In case you're interested, one more quick suggestion. I have another super descriptive video how to do Smokey makeup look, and the links are going to be down in the description box as well. Quick announcement one more time. I know that you might be fed up of this information, but in case you have any sort of questions, this January I will be launching my first ever podcast, 2024 January. And you can ask me any questions. I have mail in the description box. Whatever is in your mind, just let me know through this mail. I'll be answering all these questions in my podcast. Let's get started. Smokey is when you're going, like, there is a gradation from super dark shade to something really soft, maybe even transition color, where you go in from the darkest color really close to your lash lines, and then you're going up, and then you're going with different sort of shades. A little bit softer, and then boom, you're here, you're really close to your brow bone, where you're using hardly visible shade or super soft color. That is Smokey. Of course, someone else might say that they have a little bit different definition of Smokey. This is what I see as a Smokey makeup look. I'm gonna mention real quick, guys, that today we're gonna be using Beauty Bay eyeshadow palette. I was thinking about brown colors and black colors. I've done this so many times in my channel, and I'm gonna link in the description box some of these videos where you can check them out. I have super descriptive video how to do Smokey makeup look. Today we're going to be talking about two eyes, my left and right eye. For my left eye, I'm going to be using a technique where you start with a super dark color, super dark shade, and then go in higher and higher, where you see that to the brow bone you have hardly visible shade, like super soft color. And when we're doing my right eye, I'm going from like softest, probably transition shade, to a darker one really close to my lash line. So there are like two options, and let me get started. It's really important to have enough colors. Like, you have to keep in mind at least like 3 or 4 shades are necessary, because like there's no going to be any sort of degradation if you have no color to play with. Let's go to like velvet shades. I'm gonna get started with my NYX primer. First, we're gonna set my lid. I'm gonna use super soft color. It can be something like that, maybe beige shade, white. The technique I'm doing is a reverse technique. I'm gonna start with like really big and fluffy brush and super soft shade. It can be super soft color from just the same eyeshadow palette. This one looks really nice and cute and soft, and I'm gonna mix it with this color, almost invisible shade. Plus, for my left eye, I will start placing some super dark color, the one that I want to end up with. I will need some small brush, this thick short brush, and we're going to the darkest shade from the palette. It can be black. You can finish with black color. I don't want to do anything black today. Let's go to this super dark velvet color. We're gonna prevent any sort of fallouts, because this palette does have fallouts. And then I will place it really close to my lash line, super close, and I'm creating a thick line, but not super thick, stamping this color first. I'm going to a little bit smaller blending brush, and now we're moving to this soft purple color from the same eyeshadow palette. I'm gonna grab it over my brush, tap it off, and start small. I'm placing this over my crease. Moving to my left eye, we have intense color. Now we would need to bring this higher, but with a little bit softer shade. The softer color from the same palette is this shade. I'm grabbing a little bit different brush. You can wipe off any leftovers from this brush and then start with this shade once again. It depends on, guys, whatever you have in your makeup kit. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna tap it off first and then start placing the shade on top of my previous one with a stamping motion. The key thing about that is that you're not bringing this color higher than the one you already have. So it's just like probably half of the brush higher than the previous shade, but most importantly, you're placing this on top of the previous one. That's why we're layering colors, and this is the mix of super like different color shades and color combinations that you have in mind. Couple of millimeters higher than your actual shade. If you need to create a little bit in the outer corner shape, you can always use that. Now we're going to the color for my crease. Maybe this one. It's a little bit darker than this shade. It's too, but I can feel it's like really nice color for the crease. We're gonna use the same brush for my crease right here, and then the same brush for my crease right here. I'm gonna stamp this shade a little bit lower than my actual crease. This is really important to keep it lower, because when you start blending it out, it's gonna be really, really messy. Stamping this color first. Now I'm gonna start blending out the shade a little bit, keeping this lower than the actual crease. But now we're going to my left eye, and we're using the same color, and I'm using this on top of my previous shade, and now we've come to my crease. For this technique, I'm not going higher than my actual crease and start lower than my actual crease. I'm going to the same crease brush and the same soft crease color. I'm gonna tap it off. This is the shade that we used for that color as well, for the crease, and I'll do that on top of my previous shade and try to diffuse and blend out a little bit so it's a little bit more cohesive. And then go into the softer color that we used right at the beginning of the video. This shade, I'm gonna tap it off. I have big and fluffy brush, and I'm placing this with feathering motions on top of all of these colors. I would actually go, if you have like really dark shades, I will go with a little bit precise brush than the previous one, the one that we used for my right eye. This is feathery, big and fluffy brush, because we started with soft colors. Now we have lots of colors that are really pigmented and really bright. When you use bright colors, you want to focus even soft shades a little bit closer to this color than to your brow bone. I'm gonna grab a little bit different blending brush, tap off some shades, and then I'm gonna start getting this a little bit higher than my actual crease. This technique is simpler than the previous one, but I would still go over with my previous colors and pack them on top. I have pigmented eye. And we're finally going to the final round. I'm going to the darkest shade from the same palette. I showed you this a couple of times. I'm gonna tap it off, and with a big, like thick brush, I'm gonna stamp that really close to my lash line. I have my Morphe brush, and I will grab a little bit of my Bare Necessity and Strawberry Bonbon. And with like really soft hand, I will place it on top of my eyeshadows. I told you that you have to do black, and then this way you're applying another shade on top of black. Not on top like top, but almost replacing this black with a little bit different shade. Then you're replacing this shade with a little bit different color, and you're like packing new color on top of the previous color. I'll go probably with the same dark color, and then I have my blending brush, and I'm gonna grab the softest color from the palette and then start, blending this out with like watching up to the ceiling, and then I'll place it on top of the previous shade. I'm not dragging this down, I'm using this soft color on top of the previous one, sort of like substituting the color. I'm finally back with my full makeup on. Guys, this was a tutorial for you, my loved ones, and this is another requested makeup look from one of my subscribers. Probably not a subscriber, but a viewer, Mara Teodora or Teodora. So sorry if I mispronounced your name. And again, if you have any other ideas for me to recreate, I'll be glad to film it for you guys. Let me know in the comments. Love you so much. Do not forget about podcast. I mentioned this a couple of times on my channel, and I hope I'm gonna see you in my next video, guys. Bye bye.